Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Investor Financing Podcast. I'm your host, Beau. Today we're going to talk about alternative funding options that you have or you could have for your business and ways to get some capital so you can grow and expand your business or start a business. So let's talk about them. We have revenue-based financing options where you can get working capital based on the revenue you deposit in your bank account. And so it's based on credit score and revenue deposits into your bank account. We have equipment financing. If you're buying bulldozers or some kind of software or furnishings for your Airbnb property, potentially we can do equipment financing for that. One of the advantages if you're buying a lot of equipment, using equipment financing, that is going to be leaned as opposed to using SBA capital where they're going to do a blanket lien across all of your holdings. So that's why a lot of people use equipment financing. And also there's some advantages depending on what you're purchasing with Section 179. You want to talk to your tax professional about that, about the depreciation and the write-offs you might get by using that Section 179. So we have equipment financing, we have SBA, 7A, 504, we have revenue-based loans where you would get a loan based on deposits. They have a formula of what they can do there. There's also companies that go out and they source term loans for you, and they'll go out and they'll look at your income, whether you have a business or not. They could do this if you wanted to start a business. Let's say you were a well-paid W-2 employee, great credit, low DTI, debt to income. You can get term loans based on that. And those would be in your personal name. And depending on DTI and other factors, that you can get lines anywhere from $25,000 up to $400,000 typically with those. There's revenue-based loans, flex loans, working capital loans. There's a lot of different types of loans. So everybody has a unique situation. There's even loans to build out if you're leasing property and you're doing tenant improvements, leasehold improvement loans. So first, what we got to do is assess where you're at today. And then we can come up with a plan about how to get the capital you're looking for. And that might be using a combination of personal and business credit, revenue-based loans, and so forth. So really, that's kind of the process is what you're looking for the capital. If you're buying equipment, usually equipment financing is the option because you can get up to 100% financing. Sometimes you can even get 90 days of deferred payments. So equipment financing is a great option if you're purchasing equipment, trucks for your business, etc., bulldozers, different software, computers, things like that. Now, if you're looking for actual working capital to invest into the business, there's revenue-based loans and so forth. So really, we got to start with what you're doing with the money, what you're looking to do, and then I can assess, the different options that are out there that would make the most sense for you. And also, I always tell people, listen, you should if you have a business as a sole proprietorship right now, maybe look into, getting an actual business entity set up and building corporate credit over time. So like what I do, I have a qualified, what I was taught to do was to build a qualified funding entity where that's the entity that goes out and borrows money. It has the bank accounts and so forth. And then that business entity would lend money into my other deals. So that's kind of options. So there's strategic ways of kind of creating and growing working capital and business lines of credit, depending on what business you're looking for.
You're listening to the Investor Financing Podcast. We'll be right back after this break.
Hi, this is Beau, host of the Investor Financing Podcast. I appreciate you checking out our channel. On this podcast, we talk about real estate, investing, financing, business lending, and acquiring and expanding your business. I'm sure you will find some videos here that will help you build your business empire. There's a lot to see. Take your time and make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks again.
So there's just so many options. It's really hard to explain. This episode was really geared to kind of give you an overview of different financing tools out there. But over time, personally, what I've done is I have different business entities, some for holding real estate, one is a holding company for just the business itself, for my loan business. And over time, I've developed lots of line of credit and things like that. And I'm constantly figuring out, like, how can I leverage more And really it comes down to this, keeping your personal credit dialed in, not having too many open accounts with balances on, keeping utilization low, keeping inquiries as low as possible, and keeping your scores as high as to 800 or higher as you can. Typically 740 and above is considered excellent credit. So we want to develop a plan of attack so we can go out and do what we're doing and execute, whether you're flipping properties, whether you're buying short-term rentals. For example, you can go in and get bridge money for buying that short-term rental property, fix the property up, stabilize it, get 12 months operating history, and then refinance into a DSCR loan. On top of that, let's say you need furnishings for $25,000. Well, maybe we could package it up with one vendor, maybe go to Best Buy or wherever, and we can actually finance that with equipment financing. So there's all these ways of leveraging and getting it out of our personal name. Typically a lot of us start with building credit in our name, our personal names, and then we realize that, hey, we can have these entities, we can have lines of credit, we can have business credit cards. Those aren't showing up on your personal credit. So, we got to look at the whole spectrum when we're developing our plan, but I think you should definitely have a plan to build it, whether you have terrible credit right now, work on fixing your credit, whatever needs to be repaired, and slowly building that corporate credit, where now you're able to have multiple bank accounts and credit lines and so forth, which help, right? Because we always need capital when we're trying to grow our real estate business or whatever business we have. We always need that working capital to expand and to increase revenue. So anyways, short video, but I've been going to a lot of conferences and seminars lately and really honing in on what's available, what financing options are available for us to help us grow our businesses. So anyways, happy to discuss financing options, whether it's an SBA loan, whether it's fix and flip funding, whether it's construction financing to build duplexes, fourplexes, larger multifamily properties, whether you currently lease space and you have a business and you want to move and own the space. We can talk about the 504 and the 7A, the advantages there to do a rent replacement type of deal. Whether you lease property and you want to retrofit the building and when you need leasehold improvements, instead of going to a bank and getting credit lines with them, you might want to use some kind of equipment financing to leave those credit lines open for working capital. Anyways, just a brain dump. Hope you enjoyed it. Look around at our other videos, and we'll see you on the next episode.